Welcome to our Hong Kong Brief program. Today, we have some exciting updates for you. First up, Hong Kong stocks have made a remarkable comeback, bouncing back from 6-week lows thanks to positive U.S. disinflation data. The Hang Seng Index rose by 0.8%, snapping a 3-day losing streak, while the Hang Seng Tech Index gained 1%. Chinese EV makers also rallied after the European Commission imposed milder tariffs than expected, boosting investor sentiment across major Asian markets. In other news, the Hong Kong government has exercised new powers under the national security law to cancel the passports of 6 fugitives, including former lawmaker Nathan Law Koon Chung. This move aims to deter absconders and combat offenses under the national security law. Authorities have warned that it is illegal to provide or handle funds for these fugitives via any platform, describing their actions as colluding with external forces. Lastly, we shine a spotlight on SmartMore, a Hong Kong startup that has been selected as an exemplar of the city's aspirations to become a high-tech hub. Founded in 2019, SmartMore focuses on artificial intelligence, automation, and optics engineering. With clients like Carl Zeiss, Airbus, and Canon, the company is planning to list on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange to finance its expansion. Please stay tuned for more details on these stories and other important updates. Thank you for watching, and please continue to stay tuned for detailed coverage. South China Morning Post: the Hong Kong government has, for the first time, used new powers under the domestic national security law to cancel the passports of 6 wanted activists and prohibit anyone from funding them. These UK-based fugitives, including former lawmaker Nathan Law Koon Chung, have been active on platforms like YouTube and Patreon to raise funds. The move aims to combat and deter absconders who have committed offenses under the Beijing-imposed national security law. Security Chief Chris Tang Ping Kung warned that providing or handling funds for these fugitives is illegal. The cancellations might not significantly affect the fugitives' travel if they hold British national, overseas, passports or other valid travel documents. The government also imposed financial restrictions, barring anyone from funding the activists. Platforms like Patreon and Ko-Fi, where the activists monetize their content, have seen dwindling support from Hong Kong-based subscribers. The government may request online platforms to remove certain content and has banned leasing properties or engaging in joint ventures with the 6, with violators facing up to 7 years in prison. South China Morning Post: SmartMore, a startup founded by a Chinese University of Hong Kong professor, has been spotlighted by the government as a symbol of the city's ambitions to become a high-tech hub. The Hong Kong Investment Corporation, HKIC, and SmartMore celebrated their strategic cooperation, with Financial Secretary Paul Chan Imopa praising the startup for its rapid growth and global aspirations. SmartMore, known for its smart manufacturing solutions, showcased products like sensor barcode readers and automated defect detection machines. The company serves major clients such as Carl Zeiss, Airbus, and Canon, and aligns with China's strategy to upgrade manufacturing with advanced technologies. Founder Jia Jiaya, who has a strong academic background, indicated that Hong Kong would be the first choice for an initial public offering. The company is valued at an estimated 10 billion Hong Kong dollars, with backing from investors like IDG Capital and Hong Shan. KIC CEO Clara Chan Ka-chai highlighted SmartMore's role in boosting the city's tech ecosystem, while Chief Executive John Lee Ka-chiu praised the startup's significance, including plans to establish Hong Kong's first artificial intelligence academy. Despite geopolitical tensions, Jia noted that SmartMore's business remains relatively unaffected due to the nature of the chips used in their manufacturing machines. South China Morning Post: South China Morning Post: in North Sumatra, Indonesia, local residents are protesting against a Chinese-backed zinc and lead mining project due to environmental concerns. On Tuesday, 25 residents rallied outside the Chinese embassy in Jakarta to oppose the Dairy Prima Mineral (DPM) project, citing the area's earthquake-prone nature and the risk of a tailings dam collapse, which could release toxic waste. DPM, a joint venture between China Non-Ferrous Metal Industries Foreign Engineering and Bumi Resources Minerals, secured a $245 million loan from Karan Holdings, a Chinese state-owned entity. The protesters highlighted the dangers in a letter to the Chinese embassy, referencing past disasters like the 2015 Brazil tailings dam breach. Safety experts warned that the mine's proximity to seismic fault lines could result in catastrophic failures. The local community remains divided, with ongoing legal battles challenging the Indonesian government's environmental approval of the project. South China Morning Post. Former CBA All-Star Ray Zhu Songwei anticipates a more intense season in the National Basketball League, NBL, following changes to the league format. The new season, starting June 15, allows more imported players and shortens game durations to 40 minutes, aligning with FIBA standards. Zhu, who stands at 6 feet 9 inches and has national team experience, expects heightened match intensity. He praised Hong Kong point guard Ricky Yang for his defensive and offensive efforts. Star forward Liang Shuhua noted the faster game pace due to the reduced quarter length. Bulls captain Bai Jiguang expressed mixed feelings about the new rules, which favor imported players but limit local talents' exposure. The Bulls, who finished 8th last season, aim to improve their performance, starting with their season opener against Jiangxi Guangqi on June 16. The team will play 3 home games in quick succession, beginning with Wuhan Kuanping on June 21. The Globe and Mail. The Globe and Mail celebrated multiple wins at the Canadian Journalism Foundation Awards, with reporter Lindsay Jones and photojournalist Jesse Winter receiving accolades for their impactful work. Jones won the Landsberg Award for her pieces on sexual violence and systemic bias, praised for their thoughtful exploration of how systemic issues affect vulnerable populations. Winter received the CJF Edward Bertinsky Award for Climate Photojournalism for his coverage of British Columbia's record-setting wildfires, recognized for bringing readers to the heart of climate change battles. The Globe was also a finalist for the Jackman Award for Excellence in Journalism for its investigative reporting on foreign interference in the 2021 federal election, revealing a Chinese strategy to influence the election. Longtime former publisher and CEO Philip Crawley was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award for his extensive career in journalism, including his tenure at the Globe and Mail and his contributions to the industry. Other winners included the Montreal Gazette and Toby Labelle of Radio Canada, highlighting the diverse and impactful journalism celebrated at the event. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong's pursuit of net zero carbon emissions is facing significant challenges as the city continues to rely heavily on natural gas for its energy needs. Despite the establishment of a research center for grid modernization by Polytechnic University to innovate the city's power grid, the shift towards renewable energy remains elusive. In 2021, natural gas constituted 37% of Hong Kong's energy supply, with coal and oil making up the rest. This dependency on gas, which is imported from the mainland and via offshore units, is problematic due to its methane leakage issues, a potent greenhouse gas. Methane is over 80 times more harmful than CO2 in the short term and contributes significantly to global warming. The Global Methane Pledge, signed by over 150 countries, aims to reduce emissions by 30% from 2020 levels by 2030. Hong Kong needs a robust renewable energy plan that phases out gas, leveraging its extensive coastline for offshore wind power. Although initial costs for wind projects are high, they offer long-term savings and stability compared to volatile gas prices. Without a decisive move towards renewables, Hong Kong risks failing its 2050 decarbonization goals, with severe public health and economic repercussions. South China Morning Post: Japan is grappling with a surge in post-pandemic tourism, particularly around iconic sites like Mount Fuji, driven by social media trends. Tourists flock to specific spots to capture the perfect selfie, leading to significant disruptions for local residents. For instance, a Lawson convenience store in Fujikawaguchiko became a hotspot after photos of Mount Fuji appeared online, prompting authorities to erect barriers to control the crowds. Similarly, the Mount Fuji Dream Bridge in Fuji City has seen an influx of foreign visitors, causing issues like illegal parking and public defecation. Efforts to manage the crowds include multilingual signs and plans for a metal mesh fence. Kyoto, another major tourist destination, has introduced the Sightseeing Limited Express bus to alleviate pressure on public transport. These measures reflect the broader challenge of balancing resident needs with tourist influx. Meanwhile, Macau has been recognized for its free attractions, though its offerings don't rank highly in quality. In contrast, the Ninoy Aquino International Airport in Manila has been labeled the world's worst airport due to its inefficiencies and poor conditions, highlighting the varied experiences of travelers in Asia. South China Morning Post: In Hong Kong, the staggering amount of textile waste has prompted charities to promote circular fashion to reduce the volume of discarded clothing. Redress, a local charity, organized a sortathon where volunteers sorted through a 16-ton pile of clothes collected during Get Redressed Month. This initiative aims to extend the life of garments through resale, repair, and recycling. In 2022, Hong Kong discarded an average of 388 tons of textiles daily, with half being clothing. The campaign highlights the benefits of circular fashion, encouraging consumers to rethink their clothing consumption. Quality pieces are resold at pop-up shops, and the stigma around second-hand clothes is being challenged through well-organized events. Other organizations like Swap Society and Take Out Plastic also host swap events to promote sustainable fashion. Additionally, Hong Kong 2050 now collaborates with artists to raise awareness about overconsumption in fashion. With the fashion industry responsible for significant environmental damage, these initiatives aim to reduce waste and promote sustainable practices, demonstrating that looking good and doing good can coexist. South China Morning Post: British singer-songwriter Zayn Malik, formerly of One Direction, has captivated Chinese social media by revealing his daily reliance on a traditional Chinese herbal syrup. In a YouTube video for British Vogue, Malik showcased his essential items, including a bottle of Nin Jiam Pei Pa Koa, a herbal remedy known for soothing sore throats and coughs. Malik praised the syrup as ridiculously good for your vocal cords, and shared that he always carries it, especially when singing. The syrup, which dates back to the Qing dynasty, has gained popularity in the West, particularly during flu seasons. It is produced by Nin Jiam Medicine Manufactory in Hong Kong and contains natural ingredients like fritillary bulb and loquat leaf. The syrup's effectiveness in clearing lung heat and replenishing qi has made it a hot commodity, especially during China's recent COVID-19 wave. Malik's endorsement has left fans amazed, merging two seemingly disparate worlds. South China Morning Post: Hong Kong schools are intensifying their suicide prevention efforts following a tragic rise in student suicides, with over 30 cases last year. Teachers like Amy Chan are now more vigilant, referring distressed students to social workers and reducing academic pressures by cutting down assessments. Despite these measures, educators find it challenging to curb the negative thoughts among students. The Education Bureau reported a spike in student suicides and mental health issues, with 32 suspected suicides and a tripling of mental illness cases over 5 years. Teachers, already burdened with heavy workloads, are now also tasked with identifying and supporting troubled students. Experts and educators are calling for systemic changes, such as reducing the exam-centric education model and increasing mental health resources and staff. School social workers face overwhelming caseloads, and there is a push for more mental health professionals and better support for teachers to ensure they can effectively help students. BBC. The U.S. has expanded its sanctions on Russia, targeting banks, the Moscow Stock Exchange, and technology sectors in an effort to curb Russia's war efforts in Ukraine. The sanctions now cover about 4,500 entities, significantly increasing from the initial 1,200 targeted in December. The Moscow exchange halted trading in dollars and euros due to the new sanctions. The U.S. is also focusing on restricting Russia's access to technology, including chips and software, which have been found in Russian military equipment in Ukraine. The sanctions aim to disrupt Russia's supply chains and weaken its war capabilities. Despite these measures, the International Monetary Fund predicts Russia's economy will grow by 3.2% this year, although analysts believe the sanctions will eventually strain Russia's economy and military efforts. The sanctions come ahead of a G7 summit where leaders will discuss further support for Ukraine. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen emphasized that the actions target Russia's remaining channels for international materials and equipment.